Enjoy yoga? Please stop. You're promoting white supremacy. Srina Gandhi, a professor of religious studies at Michigan State, argued in a recent piece that, quote, the explosion of yoga studios, yoga video, apps, yoga pants, and other yoga swag over the past 2 decades is evidence, you guessed it, of systemic racism built on, quote, the labor of black people and people of the global South. Kathy Rue is the founding publisher of Catalina magazine. More than that, she is our guide to the changing landscape of 2018 and the deepest recesses of the lunatic left. And we're glad to see you as always, Kathy. So yoga is racist. How is that?
Well, according to this article, many white people who do yoga, and it's mostly white people who do yoga, so few of them understand the culture, the history, and the religion behind yoga, and they're simply enjoying it for the physical aspects of it. So they're not truly understanding yoga and what it goes back to, and they need to if they want to appreciate it, and if not, they're simply giving into this viewpoint of white supremacy, according to this professor.
Huh. So if yoga is racist, is hot yoga more racist or less?
All Western yoga is racist, according to this author, according to this professor. All Western yoga. So yoga that's practiced in India has nothing to do with the yoga that's practiced in the Western world.
Huh.
So,
what about
yeah.
Pilates? Are those safe?
Pilates was not discussed in the article. It's Western yoga as a whole. It's being practiced by white people, white women, upper class, middle class people, not minorities, not Latinos, not immigrants. Yeah, so this is a white sport, a white activity.
Well, that right there is suspect. Okay, so, call the police. What about Taekwondo? I mean, by these standards, that might be banned, right?
Well, by this author's standards, perhaps, but she really has a problem with the yoga in industrial, I think it was yoga industrial complex. That's what she called it, the yoga industrial complex. So maybe Taekwondo falls under that.
If it's wrong for people in the West to practice yoga, is it wrong for people in the rest of the world to use the internet, which was created here? Part of our cultural legacy?
Well, I think we understand the culture of the internet, and it doesn't go back to the British colonizing India and what the Indians had to do to introduce them to yoga and show them that their culture was actually intelligent, and that was part of the yoga movement, and that's how it came to the United States in the 19th and 20th centuries. So, yeah, so the internet would not follow
The internet would not.
No,
what
no.
about, like, democracy? I mean, that was invented by the Greeks in the West.
Right.
Basis of Western civilization.
No, then again, no. Yoga was a way for the Indians to show their colonizers that they were intelligent and that they had this wonderful...
Where do you read your history? That's totally wrong. Yoga predates the British by quite a bit. Okay, but so I just was interested. How many people who are into yoga in the United States do you think voted for Donald Trump?
Oh, well, the author didn't touch upon that, but...
But what's your guess? I mean, as someone who's very familiar with non-Trump voters, would you say maybe 1% of people who practice yoga voted Trump, or is that too high?
According to the author, many middle and upper class white women practice yoga. So those people who fit into that category and are Trump supporters voted for Trump.
So are you struck by the fact that series of descriptors, upper middle class, white, like that's kind of the whole argument on the left now. So anything that has those words attached is just bad just because, and anything that doesn't is superior to that.
Yeah, according to this article, those are the people who practice yoga and do not understand immigrants and minorities and what they're going through, and perhaps have more privilege and are able to experience yoga and other things that other groups cannot experience.
So last question, if in a multicultural society, which we live in, and I'm for the basic principle, which is there are cool things about other cultures and you should enjoy them, when do the rules change? So we live in a multicultural society, but you're not allowed to enjoy cool things from other cultures, or if you do, you have to feel guilty about it. How does that work?
Well, the author said by no means don't stop doing yoga, but if you do it, understand that you're only understanding an eighth of it, that there's so much more to yoga. So understand what people went through to introduce this to you from their culture to your culture. So have an appreciation. Don't just take advantage of it and buy the yoga gear and take advantage of this wonderful tradition that was brought to you by another culture.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't tested it, but I suspect downward dog is harder to enjoy if you're hating yourself while you do it, wouldn't you think?
I don't think anyone would hate themselves. They would just know more
That's
about
the point,
it.
of
They should know
course.
more about downward
More
dog.
self-loathing. Kathy, it's great to see you as always. You really are our Sherpa, and we appreciate it. Sorry, Sherpa, different culture. No offense intended.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Joe Biggs of LibertyOneTV.com, and guess what the left is trying to do? You know, like they like to get their hands on everything to destroy anything that's fun or entertaining, like all these stupid award ceremonies.
Fire and Fury spoken word auditions. Take one.
Trump won't read anything. He gets up halfway through meetings with world leaders because he is bored.
They start talking about politics and Me Too and meh, 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 meh.
When nobody ever has to say Me Too again.
Well, now they're going after yoga. And I don't really care that they're going after yoga because I think it's retarded. You just lay there and hold positions for a minute. It's pretty easy. It's not that hard. You don't need to pay a subscription or a monthly, fee to go to a gym to do it. You just lay down on your carpet or in the driveway or in front of traffic or something, and you just hold poses for a minute and you wear tights. But either way, this liberal has gone apeshit about this. People who practice yoga contribute to white supremacy. This is an actual article by the New York Post. White people who do a downward-facing dog are contributing to a system of power, privilege, and oppression. Sharina Gandhi, a religious studies professor from Michigan State, claims in an article she recently co-authored that Americans who practice yoga are contributing to white supremacy and the yoga industrial complex. White Americans should learn yoga's history, acknowledge the cultural appropriation that they engage in, and possibly reduce the cost of yoga classes so people of color and immigrants can take these courses too. If you think that you need to pay money to go do yoga, you might be part of the problem. All you need is a spot on the ground and your body. Then you just start holding weird positions. Like this is like, I've never done yoga, but just do that for like 10 minutes. And that's like a workout. And then lay down on the ground and hold yourself up like you're doing a push-up, but then you bring your arms in and you keep your toes on the ground. That's yoga. You don't need to pay anybody for that. It doesn't cost money to just make a position. And look, I got my leg up. You can't see it. But I just did yoga. I didn't have to pay anybody to do that. But the left wants to do whatever it can to destroy any bit of fun that anyone has, especially if you're a white person. Because if you do anything and you're white, you're literally Hitler. Stay tuned for more reports at LibertyOneTV.com. I'm Joe Biggs. Can't wait to see what happens after this memo comes out.
It's time for final thoughts on our younger generation. You know, we take a lot of grief for being lazy and entitled, and that may be true, but we're also inventive. We've come up with new ways of doing things like the sharing economy, dating apps, social media platforms, and some not so great things like, well, eating laundry detergent. If you haven't heard of the Tide Pod Challenge, it's pretty simple. Teens video themselves eating laundry detergent, then post it online. Yeah, welcome to 2018. Doctors, psychologists, and poison control experts are warning kids and parents of the dangers of, yes, apparently it needs to be said, eating laundry detergent. Article after article explaining what happens when a person ingests laundry detergent.
It's a super high concentration of soap detergents. That could be caustic. And what I mean by caustic is it can burn your esophagus or your feeding tube. It could also burn your airway or your breathing tubes. For an adult to try this or a teen to try this, I'm trying to think if there's been anything dumber.
Not only is it insanely dumb, it's downright pathetic. This isn't a social media problem, a Tide problem, or even a medical problem. It's a parenting problem, like many things wrong with modern society. And I know what you're thinking. The Tide Pod Challenge couldn't possibly be political, could it? Actually, yes it is. It's just the latest symptom of a larger problem, the breakdown of the American family. It's what happens when kids aren't taught boundaries, respect, consequences, or logic. Parents nowadays are taught to live and let live. Just go with the flow. Let your teens express themselves. But this modern loosey-goosey method of parenting doesn't teach kids right from wrong or sane from insane. It produces wild animals that think they can do whatever the heck they want and get away with it. Parents used to wash their kids' mouths out with soap, and now kids are voluntarily eating it. Is this really where we are? Pay attention, parents, and do better. Social media addiction is another major issue. These teens surely know it's not smart to eat detergent, but because their value and self-worth is determined by video views and Instagram likes, they do it anyway. Now the left, which dictates popular culture, brainwashes young people into believing they live in a world where 64 gender options are up for selection, everything is free, Beyonce is a god queen, and eating detergent is funny. Americans, we are better than this. Put down the soap, kids, and get a job. Those are my final thoughts from LA. God bless.